Okay, in this video, we are going to figure out how to tame the AI generation app building services that are available with tools like Bolt.New. Now, as you are probably familiar with, when you keep making changes to your application and prompting the GPT, it eventually starts making mistakes and the code becomes unmanageable and unreliable. We're going to fix that today, and the way that we're going to do it is using something called unit testing. Unit testing is designed to wrap tests around each of the pieces of code that make up the application, and that means if something stops working, then our test will break and we know, and we can tell the GPT to fix what the problem is. So I'm going to take you through this really quickly, and the screen's going to go fast. What you can see on your screen right now is a prompt I have used that's a really simple one to prompt Bolt.New to be able to create an app for me and use unit tests. So let's run through it together. It didn't have to ask any questions and it went straight into the building process. And you can see on the left-hand side, it's accelerated obviously, that it can very quickly do the whole process of building the app. Here we can see the application, so we know that it actually works and Bolt has built what I've requested. I can fill it in and I can run it. It gives the kind of response and results that I want from a user perspective. What I really need to understand now is how well is this tested? And we're going to jump into have a look at the code next and seeing the code that Bolt.New produced. And here I've downloaded it onto my local machine so I can examine it in Cursor. And I can have a look at the code. It seems well structured and well formed. Now let's have a look at the test file. And in this we can see that it's mocking services by creating fake data to return information, and then it knows that if it triggers a function, what the expected response is going to be from that function, and it can actually test and say, I expect to see this particular response. What it's going to do is automate those tests and run through them, which are effectively just code. To do that, we're installing a test framework called VI Test, and it works together with the Vite framework that Bolt.New uses. And so my computer is now actively installing that particular library so I can call it. And I will quickly try and run the test to see what the coverage is. I've made a quick mistake and it's corrected me and said you need to run the command like this. And now it's going to check the coverage of the code tests, and I asked it specifically to have 95% code coverage. And what that means is for all of the code that's written, at least 95% of it needs to be covered with some kind of a test to know that there is sufficient reliability in the code that's been produced. So it's now going through and doing all of that. It's telling me that 5 tests have passed, and in total there are 66 in all tests that have been completed. We may not get to see because it runs past too quickly, but it will tell us the coverage. It's now going to open up a browser and it's going to show me the running of the tests and also the pass count and the fail, and also the percentage covered of the code. So here I can run through and see it actively running through all of the different unit tests that it has created, and you can read those on the screen. It's now completed. And what we want to see now is the code coverage, and it's produced this in a report that I can read, and the figure at the top says 96.26% coverage. And I can drill down into each of the source files and each of the tests to see what's been tested and how. And that's what I'm doing now. I can see which parts of it have been covered and give myself confidence that there is sufficient test coverage. This test coverage means that I've built a reliable software, and anytime that a new change is introduced, if it breaks one of the functional tests, then the test will fail when I run this test again. And what I can do is instruct Bolt.New to correct the broken code and also to update the test, because the test might have become invalid as a result of some of the changes that I have introduced. So this is a good way of iteratively creating code and ensuring that it meets a level of quality that if I deploy this into production, it's not going to break and the user is not going to see any errors.